What's going on, guys? Cesar here. Welcome to the lovely world of Game of Thrones. Today I'm talking about Sir Arthur Dayne, or what people like to call him, the Sword of the Morning. The Sword of the Morning is one of the greatest fighters in the history of Westeros. Right here he was fighting 4 men all on his own, and one of these men was Ned Stark in his youth. And Ned Stark in his youth was a pretty decent fighter. So yeah, today I'm talking about who might have a chance against Sir Arthur Dayne in a 1v1 combat. Obviously Sir Arthur Dayne would probably beat anyone in Game of Thrones and Westeros history, he is the greatest swordsman that ever lived. But who might have a chance against him, who might actually win under circumstances that might be in his favor or something, or even if he lost, who would give him a good fight? That's my question. By the way, that in front of him is the Sword of the Morning. As you can see, it has the sun in it to represent the morning. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Anyways, yeah, let's get right into counting down the knights or the fighters that could beat or might have a chance against Sir Arthur Dayne. Number 1 would be Sir Barristan Selmy. In his youth, but also when he's old, he's gonna give him a good fight. Sir Barristan Selmy is known as Barristan the Bold, and he was like a living legend in his time. Even when he's old, he was still a very skilled fighter. In this scene, he said, "Even now, I could cut through the 5 of you like carving a cake." And this scene, he proves it. He could actually cut through them like carving a cake. Keep in mind that in this scene where Sir Barristan Selmy was fighting the Sons of the Harpy, he was 63 years old, and he was wearing no armor. So imagine what a young Sir Barristan Selmy would be like in his 20s or something. Definitely would have given Sir Arthur Dayne a very good fight. The next fighter would be Sir Jaime Lannister. In his prime, and preferably with both of his hands. Sir Jaime Lannister was one of the greatest fighters in the Seven Kingdoms, and he became one of the youngest knights to ever join the Kingsguard in only the age of 15, and that was due to his exceptional skill and potential. Unfortunately, we haven't seen much of Jaime Lannister's fighting skills in the show. This was pretty much the only time we saw Jaime Lannister fighting in the show while he's in good health and all his parts are connected to him. And this was the second only time we ever saw Jaime Lannister fighting with both of his hands still in his hands. Both of his hands still in his hands. Whatever. But he wasn't in good health, he was kept a prisoner for a year, covered in his own shit like he was saying. So yeah, my point is we haven't seen much of Jaime Lannister's fighting skills in the show, which is kind of unfortunate. But Jaime Lannister was an exceptional fighter who was actually trained by one of the finest swordsmen in history. He first got his training with his uncle Kevin, and then he got his training with Sir Barristan Selmy. And yeah, obviously his noble birth and the fact that his father is rich as hell gave him access to the best training possible, so that would be why he was one of the best in the Seven Kingdoms. The next fighter on the list is Robert Baratheon. In his youth, definitely not when he's old. Robert Baratheon in his youth was basically a power horse with his warhammer. His strength and ferocity were unmatched. He killed Prince Rhaegar at the Trident, and he had a unique fighting style with his hammer. This is why Gendry uses warhammer as well, like he inherited it from him. They never made it clear in the show why Gendry prefers a hammer in his fighting, but that was actually why, because Robert Baratheon liked using a hammer in his fighting and he inherited that from him. So that's a cool touch from the show. The next fighter would be Sir Gregor Clegane, the Mountain. Now here's the thing, the Mountain from the TV show probably won't beat Sir Arthur Dayne, or even have the slightest chance with him. But the Mountain from the books is actually way more terrifying. He is incredibly large, he's like 8 feet tall, which is almost 2.5 meters. He covers every single inch of his body with armor, making him almost impossible to be defeated in a 1v1. He uses a massive 2-handed great sword with just one of his hands. The Mountain we got in the first season of Game of Thrones in that hands tournament was actually a really close version to the one in the books. And yeah, like I said, the book version of the Mountain is terrifying. He wields a sword that's actually a great sword that's 2-handed with just one hand, and in the other hand he probably uses a massive shield. It is also said that his swing of a sword cannot be stopped by anything, not a shield, not armor, and not the sword by another man, which means that all it takes for him to kill a man is to swing in the right direction, and the other man's only choice is to dodge it, but he cannot stop it. However, that myth actually doesn't work here, because in the season 1 when the Mountain fought the Hound, obviously the Hound could stop his sword with his sword in the battle, but then again that's the Hound, who's also extremely muscular and powerful. But a regular swordsman with a regular sword will probably never be able to stop his sword with just his sword in a regular battle, And Arthur Dayne doesn't exactly have physical strength, so yeah, he probably won't be able to wield a sword against him and have a decent battle with him by using swords. I don't think that's possible. But he might find his way around him. After all, this is the best swordsman in the history of the Seven Kingdoms, so yeah, he might actually find a weakness spot in him and take advantage of it. The next fighter we have is Prince Oberyn Martell. Oberyn Martell is obviously one of the deadliest fighters in the Seven Kingdoms. He uses a long slender spear which gives him a very good advantage in range. He also poisons the spear, so all it takes for him to kill you is to to cut you. Just a simple cut and you're dead, sooner or later. He also has this weird and interesting acrobatic fighting style, making him very, very unique and definitely not an opponent you see every day. The problem obviously is that he is very cocky and self-confident, and that could lead to his doom against someone like Sir Arthur Dayne. Sir Arthur Dayne actually is the complete opposite. He is a humble and an honorable soldier. He might be confident in his skills, but he still approaches his battles with the acceptance that he might be killed in that battle, which as a result leads him to never underestimating an opponent, which is very important to assure the best chances of survival in any fight. That's what killed Prince Oberyn. He underestimated the mountain and look what happened to him. Don't worry though, he's fine. It's just acting. As you can see, he's laughing right here. Now comes the time to mention the best fighter that could possibly beat Sir Arthur Dayne. It's Howland Reed with his backstabbing skills. Anyways, that's all about all the knights and the fighters that could beat Sir Arthur Dayne or might have a chance against Sir Arthur Dayne 1v1 combat. Let me know in the comment section below who you think might have a chance against this beast. I mean, he's still the best fighter in the Seven Kingdoms. He's still the best fighter in the history of Westeros, and he still beats them all. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about that they might have a chance against him. The circumstances might be in their favor so that they might take advantage of it. But yeah, he's still one of the greatest swordsmen ever. Like here in this freaking scene, he was a legend. He took all these four by himself. It was amazing. But yeah, under regular circumstances, he would definitely beat any fighter in the history of Westeros. This is the best swordsman in the history of Westeros, and no one has ever even come close to his combat and fighting skills. But anyways, yeah, that's all. Like I said, let me know in the comment section below who you think might have a chance against Sir Arthur Dayne that I didn't mention in the video. And yeah, that's basically all. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye.